So, welcome dear friends. Today we are going to discuss regarding the secondary classification or secondary division of surveying. Secondary division of surveying. So, as we have completed the secondary division of surveying, where the first one is based on instruments, so which were completed in the last class. So now we are going to discuss the secondary classification based on purpose of survey or objective of surveying. Objective of survey. So here we have some special categories of surveys based on the purpose of surveying, where itself it represents that the purpose for what we are doing survey is very important. So see, for suppose some people they do the survey for the purpose of construction of a building. Some people they do the survey to identify something that which is available in the earth, as well as some people they may do the survey on the planets. So based on different sessions, here we have purpose of survey. Based on the purpose of survey, we have the classification. They are the first type, not exactly the first type. So these all comes under the purpose of survey. They are archaeological survey. Archaeological surveying. So where this particular type of survey which deals with the ancient buildings and ancient monuments. So the location of ancient structures that which are available on the earth's surface or in this global and their position, identifying the particular features can be included in this archaeological surveying. And then we have the second type of survey, that is mine surveying. As we know, in our day-to-day life we are using so many different minerals that which are available under the ground level. Let us take the copper, let us take the gold, whatever it may be. So they are all extracted from the ground. So by using the exploration of the soil, exploration of soil below the ground level, by exploring we will get the raw materials. So we can change that raw material into a soft material. Means generally no material or no mineral is directly available in the ground level. It is available in the form of raw material. We must have to do some exercises to change this raw material into a particular mineral. So here mine surveying is very important. So which is useful to extract the features whatever we have which are utilized for the purpose of human being and his day-to-day life, like coal. For suppose if you want to extract the coal, so that is really plays a very excellent role in our day-to-day life to the generation of electricity. So this particular type of survey, by extracting the soil, taking the minerals available in the earth, stands for the mine survey. And whereas the third type of surveying is geological survey. Geological survey. This is also falls under purpose of survey, which always deals with the features. Geology, generally, geology is the study of earth. So here, geological survey, by conducting this particular type of surveying, we can see what type of features are available in the earth. For suppose, where and what is the location of the water, where and what is the location of some different features available, and especially regarding to that, here this is especially deals with the rocks. Especially deals with rocks and subsoil. Subsoil means soil presented in the earth. Okay, so it contains, instead of having the coal, instead of having the gold and so on, we have so many different types of rocks which contain different types of minerals. So like we have igneous rocks, metamorphic rocks, so that is different, that will comes under the geological subject, geology subject. But whereas here the geological survey is nothing but, this is one type of survey where we study especially regarding the rocks, what type of rocks are available in the earth, and at the same time what are the conditions of subsoil can also be studied in this geological surveying. Next type of survey is military survey. Military survey. So military survey is also comes under this particular type. So whereas in this military survey, this is really very important for the purpose of identifying the artilleries. Identifying the artilleries where the explosives are stored, and identifying the camps, military camps and their locations is carried under this military surveying. So in addition to this, we have one other thing, that is hydrographic surveying, but this is not exactly comes under the purpose. This will comes under some other different, that is in the fields we will discuss. So these four are the sub classification that which are included based on the purpose of survey. So first one is regarding the ancient buildings and ancient structures, whereas second one is regarding all types of minerals, especially like coals and so on, and whereas the geological survey is especially deals with the rocks and the nature of subsoils, and then finally the military surveys, where military surveys deals with the location and identifying the artilleries and all types of military camps, and these military survey can be done by using satellites and photogrammetric survey. So that is different, we will discuss in the further classes. So next we will see the third type of surveying. We will see the third type of surveying, that is based on nature of the field. Based on nature of the field. So let me explain the third one, that is third classification is based on nature of field or profile of field. Profile of field. So we have here majorly three classification, that is first one is land surveying or land survey, second one is marine survey, second most one is marine survey, and third one is third one is astronomical survey. Third one is astronomical survey. So based on nature of the field in the sense what type of field we are studying. Here we have three different fields generally in the planet. They are, first one is the land surface. All the earth, all the globe, it contains so many different features. In that, most of the part is covered with earth materials. And the second one is marine, where it deals with the water bodies. Why? Because as a whole structure, if we consider the planet contains two different parts. That is, first one is earth or earth crust, all the dust particles on which we will be having so many features. And whereas the second one is marine, which deals with the water bodies, and the third one is astronomical survey, in which we can study regarding the planets. Okay, so this is the main agenda of these three subclassification based on the nature of the field. Here we are dealing with three different fields. First field is the earth and its features. Second field is the water bodies, and third field is the planets, means space. This is all regarding the space. Okay, space structures and space bodies. So now let me come to the land surveying. How many surveys we have in this particular land survey? So when we come to the land surveying, land contains so many features. Where in there, so land contains so many structures like cities, as well as the rural areas. It contains forests. It contains so many features like that. So here, first of all, we will do with it. Here, this land survey, where we will with a topographic survey. So here we have some classification A1, where we deal with the topographic survey. So land contains topography. Topography in the sense, now you are seeing the world map, you are seeing some Indian maps. So in that we have so many different types of maps. Not only here, in the previous case we have discussed military survey and so on. So we will be having so many different types of maps, especially geological maps, military maps, marine maps, means water bodies, hydrographic maps and so on. So first here in that topographic survey, where it represents the topography of the land. In the sense, what is the location, the survey which is carried especially for the purpose to fulfill the location of forests, and to know the location of hills, and to know the location of mountains and their locations. What is the forest? What is the area of extension of forest on the land surface? Where the hills are available, and what is the area that is covered by the hill, and where the mountains are available, and what is the area that is covered by the mountains, and what are these heights and extension. So the survey especially which is useful to locate, to know the location and extension of such features, especially the forests, hills and mountains. So this particular type of survey is known as topographic survey. That is why all the topographic maps, they contains the forest. They are you can able to see the forest, location of hills, location of mountains. Not only these, we can also see the built up area and so many features like railways, tracks and so on. We have so many different types of maps. So now the second one which falls under the same land survey is A2, that is hydrographic will comes under here. So where we talk about the water bodies. Second one is city surveying. City surveying. So city surveying, why we are calling here the city surveying? For suppose if you want to, this is especially regarding the town planning. Town planning. So town planning, which especially includes that, for suppose if you take a particular area like Bangalore, like Hyderabad or Mumbai, so in these major cities it is really very big question mark to connect different markets and different areas, workshop areas together by a road network system. As well as it is really very important to dispose the rainwater, not only the rainwater, all types of waters. Types of water in the sense nature. Some water you may use in washrooms, you may use in bathrooms, and we are using in kitchens. So we have so many different sources from where we utilize the water. So the disposal of this particular water is also very important. So this disposal of all rainwater, excess rainwater and all the water which is utilized by human being is also a very good question. So why? Because we need to dispose that particular water safely to a far distance of city area. So that which includes in road, this town planning includes in road development or road network, and whereas the second one is network of drains and canals. So which especially, these two are considered, especially the road development as well as the building area, means built up area. Next, network of drains and canals. So these two are the major aspects that are covered in the city surveying. Why? Because if you want to develop a particular town, this is really very important. Road network and the drainage network are really very important. So based on these, we can survey. So that particular type of survey which especially deals for the purpose of town planning and the development of a particular city is known as city survey. Okay. So next we have some other types of surveys we will discuss. Just wait. So I am going to wrap these two, A1 and A2. Now we will discuss A3, third type of survey. Third type of survey. So the third type of, excuse me. A3. So third type of survey. So where third type of survey is the cadastral survey. Where the third type of survey is cadastral survey. So here this is also very important. Why? Because this is mostly the very important surveying to represent the boundaries. Cadastral survey is nothing but the survey which is carried to fix the boundaries of something. Here this something may be a building, this may be a building, or this may be a state, this may be a district, this may be a mandal, or this may be anything. That may be a river pond, that may be anything. For fixing the boundaries of a particular plot, we can carry one sort of survey. So we call that particular survey is the cadastral survey. So now if you take the Indian map, in Indian map you can identify so many different types of states. Each and every state it has its own borders. So what we are doing is we are fixing the borders. The area enclosed between that particular border will come from. Suppose if you take the Telangana state itself, it has some border. So this area is covered. Whatever the area that is bounded under this particular border can be known as the Telangana area. This is the Telangana. This area is regarding Telangana. For suppose likewise, let us take two people are there. They have two different plots. So one decides another. So like this. For suppose this plot is regarding to first person and this plot is the second person. For suppose, so fixing the boundaries means where this land is belongs to the first person and this land is belongs to the second person. So this can be achieved by fixing the boundaries or by fencing at borders of the plot. So this particular type of survey is known as cadastral survey. Fixing the boundaries of anything, boundaries of a building, boundaries of a structure, boundaries of a state, anything. Okay. So next we will discuss the third type of survey, that is engineering survey. Fourth type of survey, that is engineering survey. So this is also comes under land surveying, that is the fourth one, engineering survey. So engineering survey, why we are calling this engineering survey? In the sense all the surveys are regarding engineering only, but whereas which deals with some different types of features. Here, especially here I am talking engineering survey. So in engineering surveys we have steps. First, suppose if you people want to build a structure, let us consider that I am going to construct a building. So if I want to construct a building, what I have to do is I have to check that first thing, whether what type of land is available there, and next what is the condition of the soil present over there, and then in what are the boundaries that I have for my plot, then how to execute the work. So these all the very important stages. So see, acquiring the detailed knowledge regarding a particular structure or to establish a particular structure, so that acquiring data, the process that involves in acquiring the data which is required to execute a particular structure or to construct a particular structure comes under engineering survey. So which includes some stages. They are, the first stage is reconnaissance. Second stage is preliminary. Reconnaissance survey, preliminary survey, detailed survey, and finally the fourth one is location survey, or final survey. So we have four categories of surveys, where the first one is the reconnaissance, preliminary, detailed, and final is the location survey. So when I come to the reconnaissance survey, in this what we do is a surveyor should go to the site and he observing the nature of the land and the features that are available over there. For suppose, let us consider that this is my plot. Let us consider that this is my plot in which I want to construct a building. So here, this particular plot may not be exactly straight. So this may contain some undulations. So here this may contain some soil here, soil heap here, and here I may contain some trees. So somewhere else here there may be a possibility of having a tree. Okay, and then there may be a water logging area, water logged portion. For suppose this particular area may be water logged. So a surveyor should go into the site and he need to observing with the naked eye what are the features that are available in that particular site and what are the boundaries of that particular site. So this particular observation will comes under reconnaissance, where we do not go with any surveying instrument. Just a surveyor alone will go out to the site and he just observe the site, what are the features available there, what are the problems are there, and how to execute that problems comes under reconnaissance survey. And next we have preliminary survey. In this preliminary survey, what we do is the same surveyor will go along with the instrument to measure the dimensions of this particular plot and to take the measurements to execute the plans. To execute or to draw plans. To draw plans means we need to take what is the length of this particular plot, breadth of this particular plot. So what are the dimensions I want to locate for a living room, what are the dimensions you want to give for the dining hall, what are the dimensions you want to give for the kitchen. So all these dimensions, measuring all these dimensions for preparing a particular plan. So this involved in the preliminary surveying. And the next one is the detailed surveying. So where here in this detailed survey what we do is after completion of planning means after taking all the measurements, surveyor will go to the home and then he just go to the plan. For suppose let us take this is the plan. So let us consider this is my plot. So in this plot I want to take this is my plot. So these are the walls. So let us consider I am going to construct a single room building. Because it is difficult to draw here. Okay. So now this is what I want to do actually in my plot. So now in the detailed survey what you do is how to execute the work in the site after planning, after completion of drawing this particular plan. How to execute this particular work in the site is very important. So the initiation of that particular work in the site is stands for detailed surveying. Means set out the work in the site, whatever you done in the plan. So setting out this particular work in the site is stands for the detailed surveying. And finally, the location survey or final survey is very important. In most of the cases, this particular type of survey is carried out in laying of roads. Okay, in the laying of roads. Why? Because final locations are especially deals with the alignment. Alignment in the sense choosing the central lines for a road network. For suppose I have a road. So for this road, identifying what is the central line of the road means some vehicles may travel from this direction and some vehicles may travel from this direction. So dividing the road into two parts, and the line, the imaginary line that which divides the road into two equal parts is known as an alignment. So like this, alignment is not only justified for the roads, this can also be justified for canals, drains and so many different structures, rivers also. So these can be found under final location survey. Okay. So these are the engineering surveys that we carry to execute the work, to initiate from the initiate level to the execution and completion level. So these four are falls under engineering survey. So these are the sub-classification that which are involved in the land surveying, which deals with all the active features except water bodies. Okay. So next we will discuss the marine surveys. Means the survey which deals with water bodies. Marine survey. The survey which deals with the water bodies, that is marine surveying. So marine survey can also be termed as hydrographic survey. Hydrographic survey or hydrological survey or hydrological survey. So why we need this marine survey? Marine survey is nothing but this is also very important. Why? Because it involves in the study of depth of the water. As we know, if you take the planet or if you take the earth, so earth contains most of the part that is covered with the water. So let us take, I am taking a profile of a particular earth ocean. Let us take, this is a sea, or let us consider this is a river or sea. Okay. So in this, now really all the countries or the developing countries, what they are doing is, this is really very important to transport the goods, not only the goods but also the human being. So here, why the marine survey is important in the sense is here to transport the goods in the large level. So in the large amount, so this can be available to transport through the water bodies is really very economy. And that is very good. That is why we do go for the marine surveying, which especially useful to construction of harbors and to know what is the depth of water that is available over the natural ground level to execute or to construct underwater structures. So nowadays all the countries are the developing countries, so therefore here if you want to construct any underwater structure, so this is really very important to know what is the depth of water present over there and what type of soil is present below the water level. So this is really very important. So for that sake, to fulfill this, not only this one, and to construct the harbors, so this marine survey is very important. Okay. So water bodies, study of water bodies will give good instructions to construct all the water body structure, water structure as well as any harbors and so on, transportation system also. So that comes under marine surveying. And whereas the astronomical survey, this is also one type of important survey that which especially deals with the space, planets and space. What is the position of the planet and how the planets are moving? What are the features available over different types of planets? And what is the system of space? So all these studies can be done by the geographic information system, so that which comes under photographic and satellite systems. So by using satellite photographs and by allowing satellite to observe these particular planets, we can observe the movement of the planet, location and movements of planets, stars and so on. So this can be done in astronomical survey. So these are the surveys, three major are the surveys: land, marine and astronomical survey, which especially comes under based on nature of field or profile of the field. Okay, so these are the sub-classification. Next we will discuss one more classification, that is based on what? Based on method of survey. Method of survey. Based on method of survey. So here, based on method of survey, we have two classification. That is, first one is triangulation and second one is traversing. Triangulation and traversing. So what is triangulation and what is traversing? Triangulation, traversing. Okay, so triangulation in this triangle, and we are here traversing, where we call traverse. Okay, so method of survey. So these two are mostly suitable for plain surveys. This traversing as well as this triangulation, these both are different types of surveys which comes under method of surveying. Most of the cases, not exactly the plain, but most of the cases they are applicable for plain surveying, plain surveys. As you know, we have discussed in the early classes that what is plain surveying. So in the plain surveying, generally what we are doing? We are only dealing with the linear measurements. Means measuring of the distances over the ground. Measuring of distances over the ground. So that distance may be a length, or that may be a breadth. Okay, and by using these two parameters, calculating the areas. Okay, so the measuring of length, breadth, any horizontal distances over the ground, and with the help of that measurements, calculating the areas. Which areas? Plain areas. Calculating the areas. So this involves in the triangulation. For suppose if you want to measure an area of a particular plot by dividing that into number of triangles, or by forming the number of triangles mutually connected together the points, so that particular type of survey is known as triangulation, where this is really very helpful to calculate the plane areas. Okay, that is really very important. For suppose here let us take, so this is a land surface. Let us consider this is a land surface. So better to draw a zigzag figure, not exactly the square rectangle. Let us consider this is some ground surface. This is some ground surface. So in which where I have my boundaries. So let us consider that this is my plot. This is my plot. Okay. So the different points, some A, B, C, D, E. So by connecting these particular points together to calculate the area of this particular plot, dividing this entire plot into so many different triangles. Means let us, by taking some internal points somewhere else here, I am going to form number of triangles. Okay. So first triangle, second triangle, third triangle, fourth triangle and fifth triangle. By calculating the area of the first triangle, let us take this is A1. So likewise area of second triangle, let us take this is A2. So likewise A3, A4 and A5. Okay. So the summation of all these areas will give you the area of your particular plot A, B, C, D, E. So now if you calculate the area of a particular plot by dividing that plot into number of small triangles, if it involves in dividing all the plot into number of triangles, then we call such particular type of survey is known as triangulation. Why? Because we are dividing any type, that may be any type of land, we just divide it into number of triangles. So that is why we call this one as triangulation. Connecting all the lines together, forming the triangles and finally finding the area. So whereas the second one is the traversing. So traversing is also very important, but here we need to know a small difference between triangulation and traversing. So in this triangulation we just divide the area into triangles, that is different, no problem at all. So this can be carried out generally in general ground level. But when we come to the traversing, first suppose here in case of traverse we have two different types of traverse. So before going to know the traversing, first you need to know what is a traverse. Traverse is something that connecting the points. First suppose let us take there is a river which is flowing like this. There is a Ganga river which is flowing from upstream to the downstream. So let us take this is the direction of the flow. Okay. So this is the flow line. So this is how the flow is going on. Otherwise let us take a stream which is flowing like this. So a stream is flowing like this. So this is the direction of flow of a stream. And let us consider that there is some static pond, static water body. Let us take this is a sea, or let us take this is a pond. Let us consider this is a pond. Static water body. Okay. So now see here, this is very important. So in this particular case, in such particular case, to know the path of the stream and to locate the path of the stream with boundaries, what we do is we just locate the points beside the bank. First suppose here one point, and here, so here. So likewise in this case, here one point, and station. So by connecting these particulars one after other, so connecting these points. Otherwise, let us take this point here in this bank, right side bank, left side bank. So now I am connecting these points together. Okay, connecting these points together. So which represents the path of the stream. I am taking the locations beside the river line. So that is at the bank level, from the bank side. So now by connecting together all these points together, I can just locate, I can just show what is the path of the stream flow. So these particular connecting the points together is termed as the traversing. is termed as a traverse. Traverse is nothing but a continuous line which connects so many different points together in a continuous manner. That may be to any extent, any distance extent. So we call that one as the traverse. So in this traverse we have two different points. So likewise for the pond, if I want to know what is the location of the pond, again here you need to locate some points. So here at the bank, here one more at this bank, here. So this is here in this case, just let us give the names. First one, second one, third, fourth, fifth, some n number. Okay. So here first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and some up to some extent of n. Okay. So if starting point of the traverse and ending point of the traverse are not being in contact, then we can call that one as open traverse. Open traverse. For suppose the starting point and end point, where in this case the starting point and ending point both are being connected, so therefore first starting point is same and the ending point is same. So such a particular type of traverse is known as closed traverse. We call this one as closed traverse. Closed traverse. Okay. So closed traverse are really very useful to locate the ponds, to locate not exactly the pond, a static water body. To locate a static water body. And whereas here the open traverse is very important, which is useful to locate especially the path and the direction of a particular stream or of a particular river flow. So this is comes under open traverse, right? So this is what involved in the traversing. So the method that we are adapting in this case is different, and that is limited to calculating the areas and so on the ground level directly, not the water bodies. And whereas here in this case, why? Because in water bodies triangulating is different, locating the points somewhere else in the water body is different. So in this case, traversing is carried out to calculate the areas inside of a water body, static water body, and to locate the path of a running water body. Okay. So this is what involving in the triangulation and traversing, which comes under based on the method of surveying. Okay. So these are all the different types of classification we need to study, and by these we have completed all. I am extremely sorry, this is the fourth one. All four different categories of classification. Next, we will discuss the principles of surveying. Now we have completed what are the classification of surveying. Next we look into what are the principles of surveying. Principles of surveying. So before going to introduce the principle of surveying, I would like to tell you one small formula, that is, please see here. I would like to tell you one small formula, that is, entire surveying is dependent on a major formula, that is C P U C P I, where this C stands for classification of surveying. Classification of surveying. And whereas this first P stands for purpose of surveying. Purpose of survey, or you can also call as object of survey. Object of surveying. And whereas the second P stands for principle of surveying. And this one U stands for units of measurements. Units of measurements. And whereas this I stands for instruments used in surveying. Or you can also call this one as accessories used in surveying. Accessories used in surveying. Okay? Means you can also write this formula as like this. C P instead of second P what we write? Objects. You can call also this one as object, and then U, and we can also call this one as actions. CPU, COA. Okay. So these are the major on which we depend all the surveying. What types of surveying, any type of surveying is all depending on this only. See, classification of surveying is completed. We just completed this particular part. And where the second P, first P is the purpose or object of surveying. So we have completed. What is the purpose or object of surveying? Is to prepare plan or to prepare map. So that map may be a military map, that map may be a geological map, that map may be a hydrographic map, any type of map. Okay, road network map, anything. So to prepare plan or map, that is the object of the surveying. Next, we will go to the principle of surveying. What is the principle of surveying? It's also very, very important. Okay, so let me introduce the principle of surveying. So you tell me, what is the principle of surveying according to your knowledge? What do you think of principle of surveying? Principle of surveying. Principle of surveying. So we have some principles of surveying here over here. First principle is to work from whole to part. This is the first principle of surveying. And second principle of surveying is to locate a point by taking two measurements. Okay, or by depending on 2 points, 2 different points, reference points. And third one is to record data carefully in field book. So these three are the major principles of surveying. In that we can stretch first one and then second one. Why? Because these two are very, very important. Where third one is all depending on a worker, means a surveyor and observer. So first we go to the first one. The first principle of surveying is to work from whole to part. So what do you understand in this case? To work from whole to a part. Whole in the sense which includes the total. A part in the sense a particular thing, means a small thing in a total part. Okay. So let me give you one example for you people. For suppose when you want to execute a small area, let us say you have 10 people. You are his coordinate, and let us consider that you have a 10 students. So executing the 10 students is really very, very efficient. No problem at all. There may be no problem with the faculty, or there may be no problem with the leader. So let me improve the number of the students from 10 to 20. that may be a little bit difficult to a class representative. Now I am improving it to 20 to 30, 40, 50, and now let me go for the 200 number of people. So now the execution is really very difficult to maintain all 200 people in a single classroom. So means whenever the number of the people that you have to execute is small, in that particular case you have good advantage. It means you can execute in 100% efficiency. But when you have the large number of students, there may be a fall in the efficiency of maintaining the students. So likewise, when you want to calculate the small area of a small portion, let us take this is 10 meter and this side is 10 meter and this side is 10 meter. Now I want you people to calculate the area. You can say simply half into breadth into height will give you the area of that particular triangular plot. Since it is really very small. So now I am giving you people that I don't know exactly, but I am telling you for example that 1.5 kilometer is this side, and this side is some 1.2 kilometer, and this side is, for example, let me complete this, some 2 kilometer. So measuring these particular points is really difficult. Why? Because it has a larger distance. There is no instrument available to measure such a particular distance at a time, especially by using some chainage. In plain surveying we use chains and tapes, so it is really difficult. You need to maintain so many number of locations. So first location, first suppose you have a tape which has a length of only 30 meter. So now 30 meter. So for 1.5 kilometer, for every kilometer you have 1000 meter. So 1.5 into 1000 you will get some 1500 meter. So if you want to do 1500 meters, so you need to go for several number of tapes. Means you have to locate some intermediate point. So see here, in this case it is really very difficult to maintain the accuracy when the area is maximum. So for that case, these particular principles say that if you want to do or if you want to calculate an area of a particular triangular area of a particular portion, so always you need to go for whole to part, not from part to whole. For suppose you have started at central somewhere else here, and now you are dividing total area into number of triangles, as I told you triangulation just now. Okay. So number of triangles. So likewise you are going. So you are continuing the process. Let us consider that you are continuing the process. So if you do from the central position to the borders, so if you got any error at this extreme side, means near to the border or at the outer portion of this area, it is really very difficult to overcome this problem. Even the problem is a minor problem. So it is really very difficult to overcome. Why? Because your plot may be just located beside of some other person plot. You are not supposed to enter into another person plot. You need to do within your plot only. So that is why there may be chances to raise some errors when you go from central position to the cadasters, means borders of your plot. But when you do something that like this, for suppose the same area I am taking, but now initially what you do is you have taken so much care, and now you located these points, some A, B, C. Now you have measured really very accurately in a line, and now BC also, for CA also you do the same. Now you can just go through by forming number of triangles from border. Start from the border. Not exactly like this. Start from the border and divide it into number of triangles like this. So now let me complete the figure. So here one triangle. So here I have one triangle. So let me complete this. So now finally at a particular stage, if you got any error at the central, it is really very easy to overcome this particular error, because you can do, since the error is in a smaller area range, so therefore we can overcome this particular area, this particular minor error. Why? Because it is only covered in a smaller area. Okay, means that is visible to you, so therefore you can do something here in this particular position. But when it is occurred at the boundaries, at larger areas, you can't solve the problem. That is why the minimum principle, the first basic principle is always work from whole to part, but not from part to whole. Okay, so this is first one. Second thing is to locate a point by taking two measurements, two basic measurements, or by locating two reference points. So let me do one thing here. I would like to show you. Here you can locate a new point by using some different equipments. So first suppose here you have a point A. Here you have another point B. So A, B, two reference points. So let us measure the length of L. You want to locate a point C. So this C can be done by taking two measurements. First one is by measuring A to C and by measuring B to C. By taking two measurements, some L1 and some L2 from A point and from B point, you can locate where these two lines are mutually connected together. So you can locate a new point, and that new point is C. So this is one method. So this can be done by using chain, or you can also do this by using tape. Tape. Okay. So by using tape or chain, you can measure and mutually connect the point C. And next we have one more method, that is cross staff. So I will tell you when we discuss regarding the instrument what is a cross staff. So cross staff is something that which is useful to erect a perpendicular from an existing line. Okay. So the same C, if you want to position the C from AB, same C, so a particular line on this AB line, choose one location, choose one point, put cross staff here. So by seeing from the cross staff, you can erect an offset. We can call this one as one offset, which makes 90 degrees to the baseline. Okay. So and now you can locate the point C. So this can be done by using cross staff. I will tell you what is cross staff later. I will discuss. Okay. Next, another method that you want to do the same. Now, in the third case, we can do same AB location, and again I am taking some AB points. So where you want to calculate that C, in this case by taking the angles, by taking horizontal angles. Let us take here I am taking some theta 1. So here I am taking some theta 2. So let me locate a point C. So from a location with reference to AB line, at A you have one angle that is theta 1, at B you have another angle that is theta 2, which making with AB line. So these two angle lines are the imaginary lines projected from B and from A with theta 1 and theta 2. These two are mutually connected together at this point. So therefore I can locate a new point. Okay. So this is how we can locate a new point, and now this can be done by using compass, or you can also tell this one as magnetic compass. So this is how locating a point. By using chain you can do, by using cross staff, by this method you can locate, by using compass, by this method you can locate. And not only this, by using theodolite you can also do, by using theodolite. So where you need only the length. So first AB, B, A, okay. By using a theodolite, let us take some theta 1 over here. And now measure the length here. Okay. So now locate a new point C. Okay, so here there is no need of taking two measurements. I am only taking the horizontal angle with the help of an instrument called theodolite. Let me write theodolite. Theodolite. So it's an instrument which is really very helpful to measure both vertical and horizontal angles. Okay, by taking accurate horizontal angle theta1, either it A or it B, and by making a measurement L1, you can locate a new position that may be C, that may be D, anything. Okay, so this is how another method to locate the new point. So this is how in the four ways we can locate a new point by taking or by depending on measurements. At least two measurements are by the reference positions. Okay, and the third principle is to record data carefully in field book. This is also important. This is also comes under principle of surveying. So when you record the data in the survey book or in the field book, you have to mention, you have to locate the positions. For suppose I want to measure the length from one position to another position. Let us take from Bangalore. Let us consider that this is the Bangalore highway to Hyderabad, Bangalore to Hyderabad. So when you survey, when you measure the length from Bangalore to Hyderabad, what you have to do means in the field book you have to mention this is the starting station and this would be the ending station. Okay, so when you travel and when you measure the distance between Bangalore to Hyderabad, you need to locate some features. Features in the sense landmarks. Landmarks are very, very important. When you travel from Bangalore to Hyderabad, you need to locate the cities, major cities that are available beside the road, and major temples. If you have any temples, with the help of a temple symbol, you need to locate the temple, at which position it is available, church, at which position it is available. So this is how we need to maintain some record. This is how we need to interpret the data very carefully. At what distance we have a temple, at what distance we have so and so city, at what distance we have a temple. So these features, these landmarks should be really very, very important in case of measuring the distances or taking the measurements in a plot. Not exactly in the distances, for a plot also, where it is located, what are the landmarks beside the particular plot is very, very important. So that is the third principle of surveying. But in most of the cases, we just go through these first and second principle. Why? Because these two are very, very important. First one is to work from goal to path, and second one is to locate a point by taking two measurements, at least two measurements. Okay. So by this session, we have completed the principle of surveying. In the next session, we will discuss what are the units of measurements. Okay. So thank you. Thanks a lot.